This is the news leader, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Tonight, a spokesperson for Osama bin Laden issues a chilling new warning to the United States. And after 3 days of successful airstrikes, the attack on Afghanistan is about to enter its next phase. Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Williams.
And I'm Bill Ritter. Tonight, President Bush isn't saying what the next step is on the war on terrorism, but tonight, Pentagon sources are telling ABC News that small teams of U.S. ground troops will soon infiltrate Afghanistan. This after 3 days of air attacks, during which the Pentagon says nearly 85% of the intended targets were hit. And now fiery words from Osama bin Laden's spokesperson. He calls for a war against Americans and threatens more terrorism. We begin our coverage tonight with Rob Hanrahan. He is in the newsroom for us. Rob?
Exactly right, Bill. The war in the air turned into a war on the airwaves today. Osama bin Laden's spokesman releasing a statement urging Muslims from throughout the world to wage holy war. The chilling statements hit hard. Bin Laden's al-Qaeda spokesman calling for a holy war against U.S. interests, praising the hijackers for bringing the war to America, and then saying, America must know that the battle will not leave its land until America leaves our land. The Americans must know that the storm of airplanes will not stop, and there are thousands of young people who look forward to death like Americans look forward to living. As that statement was being broadcast around the world, ABC News learned that American Special Forces units are already moving toward the region on the ground, getting closer to Afghanistan. Meantime, the airstrikes appear to be working well.
We're not running out of targets. Afghanistan is.
Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff showed pictures of the damage. This training camp virtually leveled by U.S. strikes.
As you can tell from the first photo, it's fairly empty, but it is part of al-Qaeda's infrastructure. Here you see the camp pre-strike, and now here is the post-strike photo.
Rumsfeld says nearly 85% of the targets have been taken out, and the air above Afghanistan is not much of a threat.
I would call a threat pretty light for the most part, from where I sit in the cockpit.
But it is war, and there is danger. A Tomahawk missile got stuck in its launch tube, creating a large fire, brief panic, but the Navy says no harm. Back at home, an angry President Bush laid down the law, warning members of Congress he will not tolerate any more leaks of military secrets.
I want Congress to hear loud and clear, it is unacceptable behavior to leak classified information when we have troops at risk.
Well, the president was reportedly furious over this leak, or leaks, so much so that he apparently used some choice language and immediately addressed the problem. From now on, only 8 lawmakers will be given classified briefings, the leaders of the House and Senate and the heads of the 2 intelligence committees. Diana, back to you.
Thank you, Rob. 4 United Nations workers were killed in yesterday's air strikes in Afghanistan. And in neighboring Pakistan, there were more deadly protests. Jim Dolan is covering the story from Pakistan.
Even where there is no war in the region, tension is so hot it can flash instantly into violence and death. In Pakistan's border city of Quetta today, 4 people were killed when anti-American protests became so violent the police started firing into the crowd to disperse it. And in Afghanistan's capital cities, workers sifted through the rubble of what had been a United Nations demining office, struck overnight apparently by Allied bombing. 4 security guards were killed there.
People need to distinguish between combatants and those innocent civilians who do not bear arms.
The Taliban says scores of civilians have been killed in the bombing, but the military remains strong and resolute, prepared, the Taliban says, to offer many more martyrs. In Afghanistan, they have a long history of war. They have a long history of winning wars against great powers. Nobody here seems to be terribly afraid of the United States.
People are very confident that the strikes that Americans are doing, because it is a fight between Muslim and non-Muslims.
We can't kill Osama bin Laden so easily, but they kill only innocent people.
The Pentagon now says they've done enough damage to Afghanistan's already rudimentary radar system that they no longer need to operate exclusively at night. The aerial assault can continue 24 hours a day without much fear of retaliation. Still, given the state of Afghanistan before these strikes started, it's hard to imagine there are many targets in that country left to hit. In Islamabad, Jim Dolan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Investigators say they found no additional traces of anthrax in the offices of a Florida man who died of the illness. More than 750 people who work for American Media, a supermarket tabloid in Boca Raton, have been tested for the bacteria. 63-year-old Robert Stevens died Friday of anthrax. Another man was found to have traces of the disease. The FBI is still not sure if the anthrax that killed Stevens was man-made. So far, there are no signs of international terrorism.